In times of economic uncertainty and shifting interest rates, managing your finances and making smart reinvestment decisions isn't about just keeping the books clean. It's about setting your business up for long-term success. Today, we're joined by someone who helps business owners do exactly that. Tracey McLennan is the Director of Client Consultation Group at Edward Jones, working closely with small business owners on everything from tax planning to long-term financial strategy. Tracey, welcome to Just Good Business.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Al.
So what are some of the biggest challenges business owners face in managing their finances?
So I think when we work with business owners, we see a lot of things. Number one is complexity. I mean, you've got another organization that you're managing along with your personal organization. And sometimes it can be really difficult to connect your personal plans to your business plans. So, sometimes what we see is the planning is happening completely independently, but really the business is helping enable the personal goals. We know sometimes making time to plan for the future outside of the business can be really difficult because our business owners are successful. They're working hard, reinvesting time and capital into their business to be successful.
Sure.
And understanding also that their business is a tool. So sometimes, we have our clients who tell us about, my business was meant to give me freedom or flexibility or a legacy for my kids. And then we get time to pass on the business. And they're still so tied to it. They don't have any of those things. They don't have freedom. They don't have flexibility.
Right.
They're not in a position to pass it on to the kids. So I think that, again, all of those things make additional challenges.
So what are some essential steps that all business owners can take to overcome these?
I think, first of all, working with a good team. So it's important to understand that the team that you surround yourself with is going to do a number of things for you, but they will be, independent but linked. So when we think about tax advice, number one, a good tax advisor, a good legal advisor, a good financial advisor, and the role of the financial advisor or the financial planner is really to make sure that all of those pieces of the plan come together.
Right.
Making sure that there is a focus on both short-term and long-term needs. So what are my short-term plans? What are those trade-offs maybe I need to make in order to have those long-term things we just talked about? Freedom, flexibility, a legacy for the kids, whatever that business is enabling, making sure that they sit down and take some time to do that planning and making sure that that planning is connecting. So there has to be great conversation, not only about the business, but personal goals, and not only about personal goals, but the business. And then you can backlay some of those planning strategies. So that's when we truly understand the goals and we've gotten a good long-term plan, then we can decide, well, what tax planning do we need to do? Or what other legal work or what other structures, if it makes sense, would fit into that.
No, it's my favorite time of year right now, and that's the time right after income tax season, which I'll load off my back and I'm sure off the small business owners as well. What are some of the biggest challenges that small business owners typically face during this period, and how can they get ahead of these before next year?
So obviously maintaining compliance and ensuring that, if you're a sole proprietor, you are filing by June 15th. And if you're a corporation, you're filing within 6 months of year end. I mean, those basic compliance things are what have our small business owners kind of wrapped up these first few months of the year. But after that, really focusing on, what else you need to achieve. And again, that longer term plan. And you're hearing me say that over and over again, but it can be very easy from a business perspective to be focused on what's this year's ROI, what are this year's goals. And by the same token, when we do our tax planning, we're very focused on this year. So being able to take that step back, work with a team that will get to know you and your unique planning, because we're using business owner here as a catch-all, but every business owner is in a different situation. Their business is different. Their personal circumstance is different. Where they are in the growth cycle will dictate some of their planning. So maybe after that breath of relief, that it's all done, it's all in, then taking some time to meet with their financial advisors, making sure they are taking that step back and having that 30,000-foot view of how their personal and their business plans will align, and spending a bit of time in that space. The other thing I'd suggest also is that they engage those they need to. So we've talked about the multidisciplinary team, but there's also family members
Mhm.
depending on where you are. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your kids. Your kids are getting to the point that you're wondering, are they interested in the business? And
Right.
have you sat down and asked them, because this is part of your long-term plan? Maybe it's your senior managers and how they would help bring someone on, or how they would carry on the knowledge of the business, making sure that they're engaging some of those other individuals that would have impact on their plan.
Succession planning is something we've talked about on this podcast in the past, and we're going to keep on talking about it because I think it's something, especially now as the working population grows older, it's going to become more and more of an issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it can be difficult to navigate.
Right.
There's a lot of emotions
Hmm.
about succession as well.
Yeah. Now, thinking back to my days as a consultant, I had to worry about this a lot, all the different tax credits and deductions that were available to me. I needed help, with all those. What can small business owners do to make sure they're taking full advantage of the various tax credits and deductions available to them?
Other than researching it themselves and
Hmm.
keeping on top of budget announcements. But that's really time intensive. And we know our business owners are busy. So again, working with a good team of advisors that will be able to give them advice on, not only this year's tax submission, but maybe ultimately in order to take the most use given the goals that they have for their business. And again, personally, maybe a restructure or something else may make sense. So again, I think that relying on that team of people around them is really important, and articulating. Advisors need to also be reminded that maybe our clients' needs have changed. So
Hmm.
maybe something's, heavy in their minds, whether it's about succession, like you just mentioned, or expansion, or deploying new capital in a different way. Talking to their advisors will allow all of them to come together and think about, well, does this change anything about our existing plan? And how should we advise for a move forward with this change?
There's always that push and pull, when to reinvest, when to maybe
Mhm.
save. And especially right now, the way the economy is going, I think everyone's like first impulse is we need to save, we need to store away some some reserves. How does a financial advisor help make those decisions?
We see this a lot. A perfect example is real estate. Do I buy the land my business is operating on? Do I buy the warehouse?
Right.
Do I become a landowner and a landlord? And so there's a number of things. Number one, again, I go back to the goals. What is the goal for the business? Are we looking to expand? Is the business basically providing us with cash flow, but we don't have desire to expand it?
Hmm.
Do we have the expertise to redeploy into, whether it's a new line of product, whether it's into real estate? So do we have the expertise? Are we ready? What's the return on investment? But I also liked what you said at the beginning. There has to be some management of risk.
Right.
So how is the small business owner managing risk? And that can be economic risk. That can be risk for themselves. They become ill. They're no longer here. So making sure that they have done some good risk planning, and that can mean reserves. Having the right amount of reserves to cover unexpected expenses in the business and unexpected personal expenses. But it can also mean making sure that they've got the right insurance in place and whatnot in case there's an illness,
Sure.
or they need key man coverage, so that gives a sense of confidence that if they are going to redeploy in the business, that is excess capital and available to do that.
It all comes back to risk tolerance, right? Because really, in a downturn right now, there may be some opportunity because real estate prices are coming down and interest rates have kind of leveled off, in the last little while. So there may be opportunity there, but it depends on your tolerance for risk, whether you take that step, right?
Absolutely. We have a number of clients who say, I'm just not comfortable with debt.
Mm.
It doesn't matter that debt might allow them to do something.
Right.
They may have had an experience growing up. They may have had an experience in their early business years. And some just don't want to hold a level of debt. And we've got other clients that are like, you know what, if this makes sense, and if leveraging allows me to get to the next stage of my business, I'm completely comfortable with it. So I think it's really important for our clients to be very aware of how they feel about these things, but also for advisors to take that into account. Can be the best textbook piece of advice, but if it doesn't fit, if it can't be implemented, then it doesn't make sense for our client.
Tracey, thank you so much for your time today. Where can people learn more about Edward Jones and how you support small businesses?
Yeah, so if they go to edwardjones.ca, not only will they find a lot of great information about Edward Jones and some great articles, especially for business owners, but they'll also find links to our financial advisors and be able to search for a financial advisor that might meet their needs.
Okay, thank you so much for your time today.
All right, thank you.